Okay, this is a quick video for my year 2 forensics to show you drugs testing. Okay, so in your vehicle that you examined, I believe there was a packet of drugs in the front passenger footwell. Okay, and the reagent we're going to use to test is called marquee reagent. Okay, now this is called a NIK test, N-I-K, NIK test. So it's basically usually a roadside test. It's presumptive again, so similar to the hemosticks and the KM, it is presumptive. This is test A. Okay, now if I just show you, there's quite a few tests. So this is the leaflet you get inside, so I'll hold this steady and you can photograph this. Okay, so we are using test A. If I move it up a little bit,
I love all of it.
So you can get quite a few different tests that you would use after test A. Okay, so we are using test A. So if I show you these, okay, so marquee reagent here, test A. I'll show you how it identifies the opium alkaloids, heroin, amphetamine type compounds. Okay, and what we're looking for, if I can hold it still, is a rapidly developing purple or blue violet indicates the opium alkaloids, and then you would have to do another test to look for those. If it goes orange and rapidly goes to a brown, it's amphetamine, and again you can do another test. We do believe this to be methamphetamine. Okay, so what you would do is it comes in a little pouch with a little bar on the top. You take the bar off and you open up, and what you would do, let me just get my sample. Hopefully this is going to work, because obviously I'm doing this at home rather than the lab. So you put your sample in the bottom, okay, so your kind of white browny substance is in the bottom there. You close it back up and put the clip on. So you need to talk about this step by step, okay, for the first section. Okay, so you can see there's ampules in there and there's one with liquid in. So what I'm going to do is crack the ampule. And I'm going to let it mix with the substance. And it's actually worked brilliantly. So if I can show you what's happened. So what we've got is that perfect orange colour for amphetamine, and it is going a darker kind of brown. It's going like a brownie orange. It's not a bright orange, it's going like a brownie orange. So that, if you look at the front, I'll try and move my hand a little bit so you can screenshot if you need to. So the marquee reagent, test A, which is what we're doing, we haven't got an opium alkaloid, so we haven't got heroin. We would have to do further tests for that. We definitely haven't got the blue for codeine. What we have got is the orange, and there's definitely the brown there for methamphetamine, which is what we believe it to be. Okay, so hopefully you've got a photograph of that. That's our test. You can see how brown it is actually at a distance. And these instructions as well go into the instructions. So breaking the ampules, so care needs to be taken when breaking the ampules for each test. Okay, do not continue to crush the grass with your fingers. Obviously that's fairly obvious. It is quite a thick plastic pouch, but it would come through if you're pressing hard enough. There you go, look at that. Okay, it didn't rapidly go brown though, but it has gone brown. Okay, interpretation of the result again. Colour or lack of colour, you're looking for a colour change, and you're looking for the location of the colour, because on some tests it's important whether it's an upper or a lower. You've got your safety precautions there, which you need to mention in your method, so your first section. Okay, and again, the amount of suspect material, usually it's on like a little spatula. It's usually done on the roadside, and it would be put into the pouch, cracked, to get your colour. Okay, so that is the marquee reagent. Nick test A for identifying drugs. So that is the drugs that you found at your crime scene. Okay. So what I've got for you now to compare, I'll just leave that in the corner like that. So what I've got for you now is the 5 suspects were taken into custody, and surprise, surprise, they all had drugs on them. So what I'm going to do is put each of these in turn. I may try and lower, I don't know if I can just lower this slightly without disrupting you too much. Okay, that's slightly better, hopefully. So the one at the top is your drug sample, that's this one. Okay, and the one at the bottom, if you look here, this is sample 1. So this is Jack the Hat, because he's suspect 1. Okay, and what you need to do is to determine whether this chromatogram, gas chromatogram, is the same as this one. Okay, so I've moved my hands out of the way and you can take a screenshot, hopefully. Okay, next one. So this is sample 2. So this would be Cat the Knife. Okay, and again, you've got obviously the standard one at the top. So this is your drugs one. I'll leave that there to remind you. And then this is sample 2. So this is a different suspect, suspect 2. Number 3. Hopefully these are big enough for you to be able to, because what you obviously need to do is count the squares. So they're very much partial squares, but you need to count the squares in this upper one, your reference, and then count the squares in the lower, and obviously pick the chromatogram, the suspect, with the closest. Okay, so that's number 3. So that would be Iron Will. I think anybody else watching this video would wonder who on earth my suspects were. But I think my group knows that I've completely made them up. So this is number 4. So this would be Sue's crew. Okay, and again, same thing as before. Your standard one is at the top, and then Sue's sample that was taken out of her pocket is at the bottom. You can pretty much see that's not the same substance. Okay, and number 5, Mafia Mo. So this is Mafia Mo's, and again, fairly similar, but I wouldn't say are the same. Okay, so you need to count the squares and tell me which one of those matches your crime scene sample. Okay, so that is pretty much the whole section for your drugs analysis testing.